Oh, hello and welcome to What Are We Talking About with Jamie Jakes. I am him, and today I'm here to talk to you about the Dallas Cowboys fan base. Now, surprisingly, one of the biggest bombshells that came out of Radio Row from the Pat McAfee show on Wednesday was from Tony Pollard, running back for the Dallas Cowboys. And if you didn't fall asleep through the rest of the interview, you found out that Tony Pollard didn't know that they had a change at defensive coordinator. Dan Quinn, of course, leaving for the Washington Commanders to take on their head coaching position. Tony Pollard had no idea that had even happened. And the reason he gave to Pat McAfee after he asked him why he didn't know is because he's actually off social media. And the reason he gave for him being off social media, he said, well, I'm a Cowboy, and for my own mental health, I had to get entirely off of social media so I could enjoy time with my family and not have to worry about all the critics online, which is hilarious because he was actually the darling of this Cowboys team just last year when he was playing second fiddle to Ezekiel Elliott. So it's never a good sign when a member of your team, for mental health purposes, has to avoid the entire fan base that he is playing for, which brought up the question, are Cowboys fans the worst fan base in the NFL? And I have a thought on it. And the reason I have a thought on it is because I actually live in Dallas. I'm recording in my house in Dallas at the moment, the actual city of Dallas, not Arlington, where the team actually plays, not Frisco, where the team practices. I live in actual Dallas, so I'm exposed to Cowboys fans on a daily basis. Now, this isn't a shot on the educated, the good Cowboys fans, because every fan base has a group of fans who are pretty reasonable, pretty educated, and really know what they're talking about and aren't super annoying about it. But I'm talking about the bulk of Cowboys fans, and I am exposed to them on a daily basis. I've had a few on the podcast that fit into the bulk of the shitty Cowboys fans. I do have a lot of really, really good minds that are also Cowboys fans who are on the podcast. So no shots fired at them. And I think a lot of people agree with me about this. I think that because my most watched live stream on this channel was a live stream where we watched the Cowboys get blown out at home by the Packers in the wild card round just a few weeks ago from when I'm recording. So in my opinion, Cowboys fans are one of the worst fan bases in the NFL for three reasons. Number one, they aren't very educated. Number two, they're not very supportive. Number three, and this is the real kicker, is there's not a real home field advantage for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, we all know they had a great run, a great streak in the regular season, winning games at home. The offense operated much more efficiently. But I think, in my opinion, the reason that is because of the absence of the away crowds when they are playing on the road versus the silence that they experience at home in Dallas, which is, of course, a part of being at home. Is Dak Prescott can use his cadence, the new one. Okay, here we go. And get the boys ready, get them all on time. So Tony Pollard and the rest of the offensive line get a good jump. So they don't jump off sides as much on offense, get those operational style penalties. Defensively, they play virtually the same on the road and at home. And the real reason that is because Cowboys fans are really, really quiet. It's not the stadium's fault. It's just Cowboys fans in general aren't allowed home field advantage. The loudest I've ever heard, and I've been to several games, the loudest I've ever heard a home crowd for a Dallas Cowboys game was not actually during the game, was down the ramp from, the 400 sections when all the fans are cheering and chanting, "Let's go Cowboys." That's really the only time you'll hear the Cowboys home stadium, Jerry World, get loud at any point in time. So Cowboys fans do something extraordinary. They're very, very opinionated while being uneducated at the same time, which in a election season that we are currently staring down. We know how annoying that can be. We're all about to experience that on social media. And that's kind of 24/7 if you are a Dallas Cowboy and you're actually reading what people are saying about you on Twitter. I like to give the example of just jump into a random Uber driver in a NFL city. I did recently in Denver this last season before the season started and got into a conversation with the Uber driver. And he gave me a soliloquy on his thoughts on the organization, if you should be trading primetime draft picks for a head coach, what his thoughts are on Russell Wilson and how he's doing in Denver, and if it was really his fault or not. He gave me a long, well-educated take on the Denver Broncos, and that's just a testament. That's not just like a random lucky situation. At the same time, I've hopped in several Ubers and several Lyfts on my way home from Deep Ellum to back to my house, and had people pick me up with Cowboys stickers, and I swear they couldn't even tell you what the other three teams are in the division, if the Cowboys are in the NFC or the AFC, but they have opinions on Dak. They have opinions on Zeke. They have opinions on Tony Pollard and CeeDee Lamb and the rest of the defense. And that is just a toxic environment, if you're asking me, when you're trying to be a football player and focus on the X's and O's. So to wrap a bow on this, I'll give you the final example of my experience in Dallas. I am a Lions fan. I had my whole family in town for the Lions game, which of course they lost sort of famously on 3 back-to-back failed 2-point attempts, one with the declare eligible situation, whatever. The point of me telling you this is Jared Goff was not forced to use a silent count on any of those 2-point conversion. Game was coming down to that exact moment. Game was decided by that play, and Cowboys fans couldn't get loud enough, couldn't get their stadium loud enough to force Jared Goff to go into a silent count on any of those plays. And on top of it, the Cowboys on the second 2-point attempt actually jumped off sides, giving the Lions a third opportunity to punch that ball into the end zone and essentially win the game for Dan Campbell and the boys. Of course, we all know what happened. Lions lost, Cowboys won, and the rest is history, as they say. My parents, after that game, flew home to Detroit, and they bought tickets to the Vikings because they had such a good time down here in Jerry World. And my dad texted me pregame and said, you know how quiet that stadium was for those 2-point conversions? Pregame for the Vikings game, generally meaningless game for the Lions at that point in time, louder than he ever heard Jerry World when he was there just 1 week earlier. Again, this is not to offend any actual legitimate Cowboys fans. I would like to hear from you if you agree or disagree with me, because I've talked to a lot of educated Cowboys fans, and they tend to kind of agree with me. They're like, yeah, our fan base is a bunch of dumbasses, and I wish we weren't that way, but that's just the way it is, and I can't help it that I was born in Dallas, and I'm a Cowboys fan. It's just the way it is. I do have a lot of sympathy for those people. So I'm a Lions fan in the NFC. I'm a Browns fan in the AFC. I can definitely relate to you because I think Browns fans share a lot of those same personality traits as Cowboys fans do. Let me know what you think. Tell me if you think there's a more obnoxious, a worse fan base for a football player to play for in the NFL, because I haven't been to all of the 32, or I guess less than 32, 30-ish NFL cities in the United States. And just let me know what you think. My name's Jamie Jakes. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, and good night.